a shout out, just let me know. Send me a message via Seesaw and I'll make sure I mention you. Right, small change for Stuart. Episode 6, Chapter 13. Now, you were lucky, by the way, because when I got down to the shed this morning, it seems that somehow the large door key that Stuart found yesterday had somehow got back here. I don't know whether Jeannie must have lost it, but she's dastardly, that Jeannie. I don't know what she's up to. I hope Teeny Tiny's safe. I haven't seen him. I've been in the shed today, but I've not seen him anywhere. So we'll just have to see. So let's move on with Chapter 13. So he just found the door key. He meant to go immediately to Uncle Tony's house. He meant to cycle there as fast as he possibly could, climb over the gate and try that key in the lock. But as soon as he got out of the park, people began to point at him and laugh. Help, help, it's the creature from the planet Ooze, called out a sniggering teenage girl. And it was clear that until he cleaned himself up, he was just too noticeable for secretive activities. He cycled home on the quietest streets he could find. He'd have a shower, he thought, and change his clothes, and then he would go straight out again without everyone in Beaton noticing him. The front door was open. He took off his shoes and made a dash for the stairs. "Oh, there you are," said his mother, opening the door from the kitchen. "Hello." He was surprised. She wasn't usually at home until halfway through the evening. "We had a flood in the lab," she told him. "A burst pipe, so I thought I would take an afternoon off for once." "Aha," said his father, looking over her shoulder. "I thought I could detect a somewhat mephitic odour, and now I can see its alluvial origin." "I fell over in some smelly mud," said Stuart. "Oh, so you did," acknowledged his mother, apparently noticing his head-to-foot sludge coating for the first time. "Anyway, we're expecting guests," she continued. "I was just thinking that it must be a bit lonely for you here in Beaton, and then I bumped into some children, exactly your age, right on this street, and I thought, seize the moment." "Oh, no," thought Stuart. "Oh, no. Children, can you imagine this? Your mum's found friends for you and she's invited them round." "And I invited them round for tea." The doorbell rang. "And here they are," said his mother. She opened the front door, and there stood the kingly triplets. Three sets of eyes gazed at Stuart. Three faces registered disgust and horror at his appearance. Three noses wrinkled at the smell. "Hello, Stuart," said the one with glasses. I'll go and get washed," he said, and fled up the stairs. He took as long as he possibly could, but when his mother called up to him for the third time, Stuart knew he could avoid it no longer. "Your guests are in the dining room," she said to him as he came down the stairs with incredible slowness. "I'm not going to bother you," she added. "I know there's nothing worse than parents interfering. I'll leave you alone to enjoy yourselves." Stuart opened the door. The triplets were sitting round the table. They looked at him in silence. Avoiding their gaze, he sat down on the only empty chair. On the table was a plate of peanut butter sandwiches, a plate of scones with jam and cream, a plate of chocolate brownies, and a plate of mini Swiss rolls. He took two of everything and began to eat. So here he is, children, faced with the Kearsley triplets. I think they're called Lily, Emily, and Beth. No, sorry, they're not called. No, May, April, and June. That's it. That's the right version. Okay, here we go. So he took all the food. One of the triplets tutted disapprovingly. "Oh, manners maketh man," she said. "What?" asked Stuart, his mouth full. "It's a quote," she said. "It means you shouldn't speak with your mouth full, and you should offer food to guests before you start eating yourself." Stuart shrugged. "You can die of starvation for all I care, and if you're talking about manners, then what do you call following someone around, taking pictures of them and writing horrible things about them in a stupid newspaper?" "We call it investigative journalism," said one of the triplets. "I call it snooping," said Stuart. "We at the Beach Road Guardian," began a triplet. "You at the Nosy Parker Weekly," interrupted Stuart, imitating her pretty little voice. Now you're being rude, said another triplet. And if we're going to... The door opened and they all stopped talking and sat upright. Stuart's mum poked her head into the room. Everyone having a good time? She asked. They all nodded. Mrs. Horten shut the door again. Now, where were we? Asked a triplet. I was being rude to you, said Stuart. No, you were being rude to her, said the triplet, nodding at one of her sisters. Stuart shrugged again. Can't see it makes any difference. You're all exactly the same. No, we're not, screamed the girls. The door opened again. Still having a good time? Asked Stuart's mother. They all nodded. I forgot to say, she added, there was a phone call for you from the library, Stuart. They wanted to tell you that the missing photo from the book has turned up. Does that make sense? Ah, that's an important clue, children. The missing photo that was in the book at the start has been returned. Yes, said Stuart. Thanks. His mother closed the door again. We're nothing like each other, continued one of the triplets immediately. June's hair has got a parting on the left, mine's got a parting on the right, and April has got glasses. Well, you all sound the same, said Stuart. Not when you get to know us. But I've already known you for 3 months, said Stuart. Get it, he added. April, May and June. Oh, very funny, said April, the one with the glasses. And if you're going to make jokes about names, then you better be careful, Mr. S. Horten. Bet you get called Shorty. Bet you get called Specky, snapped Stuart. He could tell from her expression a wince that she did. The door opened again. This time it was Stuart's father. Here he is, guys. Stuart's father has arrived. Whoops-a-daisy. There he is. He's just fallen over. Don't worry. He's not too tipsy. There he is. I'm here to take an order for potables, he said. We have a wide choice of citrus cordials and also a gaseous syrup-based libation. Cola, please, said Stuart. Same for us, please, said June. I shall be back precipitately with your chosen beverages, announced his father, leaving the room. There was a pause, and then May and June looked at each other and sniggered. He's weird, said May. Stuart took a breath and was about to say something really, truly, incredibly rude to her. Because although she was right that his dad was weird, it was still his dad. When April unexpectedly spoke up. It's not fair to laugh, she said sharply to her sisters. No one can help their parents. What about when our mum sings? What about our dad's shorts that he wore to the school fete last year that had a hole in the bum? We hated it when people made fun of him. May and June looked a tiny bit shamefaced. So anyway, said April, turning to Stuart, why were you trying to break into that house? Don't you ever give up? Asked Stuart. He'd just at that moment been beginning to think that perhaps April wasn't quite as bad as the other two. She shook her head. A good crime correspondent never wastes an opportunity. OK, he said tiredly. My great-uncle Tony used to live there, so I was curious about it. I just wanted to look around. He sat back and folded his arms. That's it? Asked April. That is it. Simple curiosity? Simple curiosity. I see. She reached into her pocket and took out a very small glittery notepad and leafed back through the pages. So at that point, were you already aware that the building in question was the subject of a demolition order? Stuart gaped at her. You what? He managed to say. Your great-uncle's house is going to be knocked down, she said. Didn't you know? Right, well, that's a real shock, children, because he won't want that, because that's the first place that the Stuart is going to go with that key. He's got the key. It must be related to the house, so he's going to go back there. I mean, what on earth is he going to do? Hey, there's a piece of wood. Somebody's throwing pieces of wood. Somebody must be trying to tell me something. Hang on, there's another one here. And another one. There's a trail of wood. Where on earth is it going to? There's more and more of it, until I seem to have come to a large pile. And what's on here? TNT. Is that teeny tiny? No, it's trinitotoluene. It's dynamite. Is it? It's teeny tiny Tony Horten. Who could be responsible for such A dastardly plan. Let me find out. It can't be. Please don't tell me it is. Jeannie!